Hey, welcome back. Happy Monday. It's spring is in the air, and pollen is too. We had quite a bit of discussion on our Facebook page about a case that we generally give short thrift to, but the truth is we've got 3 U.S. attorneys in-house. So the federal system is we've got a courthouse in Florence, we've got a courthouse in Charleston, one in Columbia, and one in Greenville, and those special U.S. attorneys that are in-house, they are dual purpose. Those are people that are really prosecutors, solicitors, but because they've got this special designation from the acting U.S. attorney, they can go into federal court. So we've got 3, and sometimes, and we don't talk about it an awful lot, but sometimes we send some of our cases to be handled in federal court. And sometimes that's because they can get to them quicker. They have a deal where all of the work has got to be done up front, but then within 90 days, they've got to be ready for a trial. So I always comment that that's more of a pressure pot type situation, whereas in state court, it's more of a microwave. One, it's a lot of work up front, very few arrests. The other is a lot of arrest, but then the work continues. That can't happen in federal court. But suffice it to say that in Horry County every year we're going to get 10,000 felony warrants. In Georgetown we're going to get about 2,000. The whole federal jurisdiction of the state of South Carolina may get 400. And that is Orangeburg, Allendale, North Augusta, Gaffney, Horry. It's all over, but that's 400 compared to 10,000. But one of those that we tried in 2022, 3 years ago, is just coming up on its appellate, and it's Dominique Brand. And Dominique Brand, this is, I always tell you guys that if you are going to the Sky Wheel, or if you are, pushing a stroller, you're not looking for meanness around Myrtle Beach, you're not going to find it. It's relatively safe. This is a case that did not fit any of those parameters. There are those cases. There's no absolutes. And Mary Ann Elvington was probably one of the nicest people you would have met this side of heaven. She was a wonderful lady. She raised a wonderful family, Margot, Harold, and Hugh. For her children, they started looking for her when she skipped church one day. And that's a testament to all of us, that you could skip church and people would be concerned. Well, Mary Ann skipped church, but the reason she did is Dominique Brand had gone over there and kidnapped her. And he took her from her house looking for a car because he had stolen a church bus. And he took her vehicle with her in it, and they went to Lake Waccamaw, which is right across. Mary Ann is from Green Sea, which is right there at the border anyway. But they went from her house to Lake Waccamaw, which is in North Carolina, and then they came back through Dillon. They stopped at the police station in Lakeview. I still don't know what that was about, but he let her out. She went to the door of the police station. The police station was locked on that Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon, and she came back, went in the car. Something spooked Brand. Maybe it was an ambulance that had come by on that small road in Lakeview. They went toward back toward home, and he stopped at a behind a grocery store, abandoned grocery store, and killed Mary Ann. And then he took the vehicle and went a few more miles up the road and ditched the vehicle. He was caught. We prosecuted along with the feds in federal court. One thing about it is not every case is suitable for federal court. You have to have, one of the big things is an interstate connection, in other words, going from one state to the other, or the use of a vehicle on a road, not necessarily interstate, but like US 17, a highway that crosses state lines. Or it might be that you use something that's bought, like a gun, that wasn't manufactured in South Carolina. So there's a lot of ways to get to federal court. But we have to make sure that we don't overload that system, because their lift capacity is a lot lower at 400 warrants than ours is at 10,000. But it allows us to take some of these cases. See, in Horry County, for Mary Ann, all we had was a kidnapping, because she was not killed in Horry County, she was killed in Mary Ann County. And kidnapping doesn't do justice to what happened here. So Dominique Brand was convicted, about a week-long trial in federal court in Florence. He was convicted and given life imprisonment without possibility of parole. Now, one thing that's very similar to state court is as soon as Mr. Brand got in whatever prison he was in, and that's another difference. If you're convicted in state court, you're going to be in Allendale, or you're going to be in Beaufort, or you're going to be in one of the state prisons in Columbia, Lee. But if you're convicted in federal court, you may very well be in West Virginia. You might be in Luckenbach, Texas, or wherever they sing songs about. But there's federal prisons that they go to. So as soon as Brand went to whatever prison he was going in for his life sentence, he was given a pencil and a pad of paper, and he started appealing almost immediately. You have to say, I'm going to appeal within 10 days. But after that, you put your thoughts together and you appeal. Well, the first set of appeals has already taken place, and those appeals in federal court will start off in Richmond, Virginia. That's their Court of Appeals. That is for our circuit, which is North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, and I think West Virginia are all together in that circuit. So that set of appeals, they're looking at not whether or not Brand got a perfect trial, but whether or not he got a fair trial. And then they look at individual spots where during the trial of the case there's an objection. So they're looking at all of those objections. And the good news for us is that this first set of appeals has gone up, and we, the state, the government, the feds, whatever you want to call us, were affirmed. The next spot is the United States Supreme Court, which to go there, they would have to grant a writ of certiorari. They don't take every case. When you say, I'm going to appeal all the way to the Supreme Court, no, you're not. They will take certain cases, but they're not taking every case from Tahoe, New Mexico, and Bakersville, California, and Conway, or Greensea, South Carolina. They'll take what they want to take. So I doubt very seriously you will see an appeal to the United States. They will ask the United States Supreme Court to look at this case and grant them some sort of relief, but chances are very few of those cases go up. Then they will start another set of appeals called post-conviction relief in state court. There's a number associated with it in federal court. I forget what it is, like a 1296 or something, but it's PCR. And that's where the defendant quits saying the state screwed up and the judge screwed up, and he starts saying my attorney screwed up. It's always somebody but me. I'm accused of kidnapping this 80-year-old woman and killing her, but it's somebody else's fault that I'm here. And that's what That's what the post-conviction relief will be, the next set of appeals. And then they'll start a set of appeals on the post-conviction relief attorney. So it'll go on forever or until he's released or he dies in prison. In this case, he's got life in prison, so he will continue to appeal until those are all exhausted or until he dies in prison. But the great news for us today is that Dominique Brand's conviction in the 2022 murder of Mary Ann Elvington was upheld by the Court of Appeals in Richmond, Virginia.